Hey everyone, it's Paul, and this is Contemplify, where we seek to kindle the examined life for contemplatives in the world. Today's episode is number 100. So in celebration of episode number 100, I thought I would shift things around a little bit. I've interviewed so many thoughtful contemplatives, artists, scholars. I'm going to switch it up a bit. I'm going to shift to a seasonal format. So that way, you all won't have to guess or wonder when the next episode is coming out. So I'm going to put a collection somewhere between 6 and 8 episodes per season. And that way, for an entire season, week by week, you will know that a contemplative conversation is coming your way. I'm trying to take away the guesswork. So in celebration of this, I'm in hot pursuit, in the mix, in the middle of season 2 of working on it. And I love that the first season will be 100 episodes, and the next season will be between 6 and 8. It's a good trajectory to go on. By season 7, we'll be down to about half an episode. So today, in celebration of this, the 100th episode of Contemplify, I bring you a musing. This is a musing that was plucked right out of the Contemplify non-required reading list. I put together a little reading list recommending 3 to 4 books that have sparked my interest, piqued my curiosity, or wetted my eyes with these things called tears, and has moved me in my own contemplative being and becoming. I try to recommend books that really stir me in that way. At the start of each newsletter, at the start of each reading list, I have a little musing, a little reflection. So that is what you're about to hear. If you want to sign up for the Contemplify non-required reading list, head on over to contemplify.com. And you'll get the next set of book recommendations, contemplative musing, and artistic offerings that I spotlight. So, whether you sign up or not, I just want you to remember that the books that will change your life, they tend to be the ones that are non-required. Take a little sip of coffee in celebration of 100 episodes. That is good. Without further ado, here's the musing for the 100th episode. Like people or dogs. These 4 words prove that all you need is an opening lick on a wet stone. 4 words. That's it. 4 poetic words to sharpen a razor's edge and shave the ordinary. Now, I will share the poem that opens with "Like people or dogs" in its entirety. But before I do, a few words on how Jesus of Nazareth taught me the value of a poetic whetstone. In the rabbinical tradition that Jesus participated in, a teacher would speak the opening lines of a psalm, and his students would join in reciting the rest from memory. It was a cue. It was a cue from the teacher of a lesson to be spoken in that exact moment, to be heard in the context of that moment, and absorbed as a community in that moment. Now, if you're like me, the labors of memorization are like eating celery. They go unrewarded, unless those same labors are worth the effort, which is unlike eating celery. Reciting a sacred text from memory can save your soul. Memorized and residing within, wisdom can burrow into your bones and billow out in the right moment. Jesus does this when he recites the opening lines of Psalm 22 as he is being executed. My God, why have you forsaken me?" Imagine that. Now, imagine that you're among Jesus' friends following him on this torturous route to the crucifixion, a place designated for public execution, a gibbet to what happens when you cross the almighty state. Seeing Jesus hang on the cross, you bear witness to his struggle for each breath. You can almost hear him say, I can't breathe. All but a few abandon him. The remnant watching hears Jesus recite the opening line of Psalm 22, a psalm of anguish and rescue. Raw, bloodied, and gasping for air, he is calling on his friends to join him in this sacred practice one more time. He's a teacher even at the point of death. And imagine his disciples hearing Jesus cry out that opening lick of Psalm 22. He had done this sort of thing so many times before. They knew what was theirs to do as the memories flooded into their brains. For it was only a few weeks prior that Jesus was grinning and beckoning them to ring out the scriptures over reality. Whether they were on dusty back roads, or having a river swim to cool off from the day's heat, or on the field edges, they gleaned from this practice. They did not fully understand what they were practicing at the time. Jesus was teaching them to taste, to see, to remember. He knew this practice could save them. Praise the Lord, I am not the Lord. I am a mere contemplative shoveler, clearing the sidewalk in a manner that can only be defined as lumbering. The blade is low, the work is slow, but the labor is smiling. I lifted this practice from Jesus and make my attempts at memorizing sacred texts, songs, and poetry. All in hopes of nurturing the incarnate life, I gnaw on truth, beauty, and goodness. I open this musing with the first 4 words from the poem, Life of a Day by Tom Hennon. It is a favorite poem of mine to chew on during the season of ordinary time in the Christian liturgical calendar. God, I love the liturgical humility of calling it ordinary time. It conjures up images of sipping a cup of ginger tea, walking the sun down to dusk, or sneaking in a poem just before lights out. That, of course, is my romanticized version. It has its place. But it is also true that the season of ordinary time is when I am most susceptible to take the coolness of a blue morning for granted, or to easily blink away God's expectant presence in my day. But in a moment of remembrance, I lean back into the unknown and recite 4 words. Like people or dogs. So in this ordinary moment, on this ordinary day, in this ordinary liturgical season, sit with the words from the poem, Life of a Day. Who knows? You might even want to memorize them. Life of a Day by Tom Hennon, from the book Darkness Sticks to Everything. Like people or dogs, each day is unique and has its own personality quirks, which can easily be seen if you look closely. But there are so few days as compared to people, not to mention dogs, that it would be surprising if a day were not 100 times more interesting than most people. But usually they just pass, mostly unnoticed, unless they are wildly nice, like autumn ones full of red maple trees and hazy sunlight, or if they are grimly awful ones in a winter blizzard that kills the lost traveler and bunches of cattle. For some reason, we like to see days pass, even though most of us claim we don't want to reach our last one for a long time. We examine each day before us with barely a glance and say, no, this isn't one I've been looking for, and wait in a bored sort of way for the next. When we are convinced our lives will start for real. Meanwhile, this day is going by perfectly well adjusted, as some days are, with the right amounts of sunlight and shade, and a light breeze scented with the perfume, made from the mixture of fallen apples, corn stubble, dry oak leaves, and the faint odor of last night's meandering skunk. Thanks for your kind attention and open ears. Again, if you want to sign up for the monthly, non-required reading list from Contemplify, just head over to Contemplify.com to sign up. My thanks to Charles Enns and Darren Hovius for the theme music for this episode. This song is called Langside. There are many conversations in the works, and the editing process and post-production and all that fancy lingo. They're coming, and I appreciate your patience. Until then, be well.